you'll always remember what a special day today was. I also want to make sure that we thank all the people that made this happen, regardless of how much money you gave. Thank you for being a part of it. Our staff gave, 100% of our staff gave money, our board gave money. Many of you here are donors to this project. All of these athletes that are here in these red leather jackets raised at least $5,000 per person for this project. Let's hear it for the athletes.
Welcome to SOMO TV. I am Allison DiAgostino, and Larry Stevens. With us is Derek Sandbothe, 2017 Athlete of the Year. Welcome. So, how did you feel when you found out you were Athlete of the Year?
Well, it was very exciting. I actually, that weekend I was down at the lake. We were all sitting down and stuff at lunch and stuff, and I was talking to some of the other athletes that were there who were also nominated from their respective areas, and I really thought that this one kid really deserved it. His name was Dakota. So, he really nailed it and stuff in his opening speeches and stuff, introducing our speaker on Friday night and stuff. He did a great job, and just by his inspiration, in order to get in front of so many people and talk, that takes a lot of guts for someone to do.
That's true. Right.
So, to be nominated for Athlete of the Year, that is one heck of an honor, I'll tell you.
What sports do you play and why?
Well, I am currently playing basketball, and we're just getting ready to start volleyball. I also do softball, which happens to be my favorite. I bowl. It's a lot of fun. I'm pretty actively involved in stuff, and let's just put it this way. I really don't have a home life. Because, I'm always at practices. I'm always giving speeches somewhere. I love what I do.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
Awesome.
I'm actually kind of curious, how did you get involved with Special Olympics?
There's a place in Jefferson City that I work at, Capital Projects. It's a great place, for people with disabilities to work and just be a part of society. And during that time and stuff, I was living with my mom and stuff, and I really didn't have an outdoors life, and so I really like to be active, and while working and stuff, with capital projects, I had heard people telling me about, their experiences of traveling at teams and their sports, and, I thought to myself, I'd really like to get involved with that. It sounds great, like a great opportunity for me.
Yeah.
And, so I went and talked, me and my mother, we talked about things for a while, and about 2 months later, I had gotten involved with Special Olympics, I think in 2001. It was in like November or December, when I started playing basketball for the very first time.
Have you been to any USA games?
Yes, I have. I actually attended the very first ever USA National Games in Ames, Iowa, back in 2006. I played basketball up there. We ended up taking fourth place. It was a great week. I mean, even though we never really won a game that week and everything else, it wasn't about winning. It was about the fun and excitement and having fun. And I definitely had that.
And just being good sports.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I realized, like, accomplishing so much, like, is there someone that you idolize?
Athletes itself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, being able to see other athletes compete in their sports and to see how they have overcome so many obstacles in their lives, that is what really drives me.
Yeah, it really does.
It's always thrilling to see someone achieve.
Exactly. And it's like, being a good sport, and just being there and watching these people, compete is just absolutely enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't have thought of anything better than to watch these competitions and seeing other people having fun, having a great time, making new friends and stuff. It's great experiences.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for your athletes or other athletes?
Yes, I do. In fact, I would love to give these other athletes a chance to and say, never give up on their hopes and dreams, because, the sky's the limit. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
if you put your mind to it and work really hard and stuff, there's nothing you can't do.
That's true.
Well, thank you, Derek, for being here for SOMO TV. I'm Larry. This is Allison's, and look at watch.
Welcome to the club tonight. My name is Jessica Grammer, and you're going to hear a lot of bad jokes. What did Santa say when he saw a reindeer driving? Better hold on to your dear life. What do you call multiple stamps? Everybody wants is a stampede. You know a stampede? Why does Saturn have so many rings? It's been married too many times. What do you call an ostrich going crazy? An omelet. Why did the chicken cross the road? It played chicken. Why does outer space have a belt? To keep its outer pants on. How do you measure a snake's muscle? By the scale. What did the fish say to the shark? Nothing, the shark ate it. And guy dropped his mic. There you go.
Let your inner Zeus loose and plunge to support Special Olympics Missouri athletes. Dust off your toga, don the laurel wreath, and party like the good old days at your choice of 13 frigid bodies of water this January, February, and March. Sponsored by your local law enforcement, proceeds support 15,000 children and adults with intellectual disabilities in year-round sports training and competitions throughout the Show Me State. To find out how you can get involved, visit somo.org/plunge. So get your family and friends together and take the plunge to make a difference in an athlete's life today.
The John Michael Letz Award was established in December 1994 for the purpose of recognizing an individual whose unselfish efforts and contributions are directly responsible for the success of the law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics Missouri. It is our Unsung Hero Award. The Torch Run Committee elected to name this award after Mike because of his longtime efforts while serving on the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department and who died from cancer in 1995. The St. Louis Trivia Night fundraiser was his creation, and it continues still today.
John Michael Letz was my friend. And John Michael Letz is the first guy who said, you know what we ought to do? We should fundraise. We need to do the Trivia Night. He's the one who taught us to raise money. He taught us that this was going to be a year-round endeavor, not just 1 month a year. We were going to fundraise all year round so that we could raise the amount of money that we do. Now, we don't even have to talk about fundraising around the calendar. What we talk about is what we're going to do next. And it's all the growth from all the good people that have been involved in law enforcement and the torch run. And we're blessed to have everybody.
About this year's recipient. They are involved in the torch run for 11 years. They're involved in fundraising in both local and statewide fundraising events. Since becoming the agency coordinator for their department in 2006, the agency has raised $216,252. They have volunteered to hand out medals at both local and state events. They organize a leg of their torch run in their city. They serve on the local Polar Plunge Committee and has been instrumental in growing this event to where it is today. In 2017, this recipient was responsible for starting a relationship with a local franchise owner, resulting in a tip-a-cop taking place at 7 locations and raising well over $6,000. Although this recipient's job duties have changed and they are no longer their agency's coordinator, they have taken the time to help the new coordinator as much as possible to ensure their agency and SOMO are both represented well, and is still volunteering at their agency's LETR events. It is my honor to present this award to a person who makes a big difference to her agency and her region. To the LETR family and to SOMO's athletes, the 2000 Letz Unsung Hero Award goes to Officer Mary Wheeler with Wentzville PD.
So, like everybody here, I do this for the athletes. But the first person I need to thank is my husband, who I didn't know was coming because, you know, it takes a lot of time away from my family at events and conferences, and he does a really good job, not only being a dad, but a lot of times being a mom. And I probably don't tell him enough, or at all, really, how good of a job he is doing that. So thank you for letting me do what I want to do. Love you. And I see a whole bunch of important people over here, because I'm really undeserving of this. A couple of years ago, the police department got a new chief, and he had a mission. And it was to go out into our community and to serve better. And pretty soon after he came, we had a special Olympic event coming up, and I door knocked on his door. And Chief Frizz is his name, and he came from St. Louis County. And so I knew St. Louis County, he had to know what Special Olympics was. And I told him about the event, and he bought in to it. And he put out an email that everyone responded to, from the major and the captain and lieutenants and sergeant, and everyone showed up, and we raised a lot of money. And the next time, other officers said, I want to help too. And from that point on, this last time our torch run had 1/3 of our officers running. They volunteered. And so from that point on, we had buy-in from our administration, which really helped. And so this isn't just a win for me. It's a win for Team Winsville, which I'm really proud to be a member of. This isn't just me. This is our department, and we came a really far way in a short period of time. So thank you. And this isn't me. This is a whole team coming from a small department. So thank you.
Welcome to SOMO TV. I am Allison DiAgostino and Larry Stevens, and with us is Gary Brimer, our new Hall of Famer.
Thank you.
When did you find out you were going to be nominated for a Hall of Fame?
Well, I didn't know that I was going to be nominated, but I figured out that I was going to be inducted because when I went to the bathroom, my family was standing outside in the hallway.
Did they really?
So, how are you nominated, inducted?
Actually, Rob Eichelberger, who is an ex-board member and an athlete, nominated me. And I guess he got really high pressure with some of the people getting letters in and everything. I know I talked to Diana White, and he contacted her several times to make sure she was getting her letter done and everything else. So he was very strongly motivated to get me into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And very cool.
What was it like to be nominated into the Hall of Fame?
Well, you ought to know because you've already been there, but it's awesome. It's always nice to be recognized for things that you do, but for most of us that have been in the Hall of Fame or been put into the Hall of Fame, it's not something you seek, it's something that happens, and it was quite the honor for me to be put into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for those that aren't familiar with you, like, how long have you been in Special Olympics?
41 years I did Special Olympics.
Wow.
22 years on staff. I was on staff. So before that I was a volunteer.
What's your favorite Special Olympic moment?
There's so many of them, it's hard to pick one, but I would have to say the first time I got to coach a World Games team and take a team of, we had a softball team that went to the 1987 games in Notre Dame, and on our way home, one of my athletes wanted to give me his medal, which was really, really cool. But
Yeah.
of course I didn't take it, but it was quite the honor that he gave me. So
That's cool.
very cool.
And I've realized, like, probably a lot has happened since you first joined. What's changed in Special Olympics?
So many things. First of all, it's we're so much more organized than we used to be.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is I can remember going to the very first track meet that I ever went to, and everybody was wearing basically somewhat like what I was wearing right now. Blue jeans, shirts. They didn't have uniforms.
Right.
They didn't have any of that stuff. So it's just gotten better over the years, and our athletes are actually, they look like athletes now, and the games look like games. That's the other thing that's so big is our games look so much more like games than they used to. It used to be you'd drive up and there'd be all these buses there and all these athletes and coaches, but you didn't know what they were doing or anything. Now you have banners and signs and everything. It's just much more amazing than it used to be.
So, is there anyone you would like to thank for getting this far, getting nominated?
Well, there's so many people. Obviously, I want to thank Rob Eichelberger for nominating me, and for all the people that supported my nomination and everything. But to get as far as I've gotten and to last as long as I have to thank all my family and everything for letting me do what I wanted to do. So I always loved working with the athletes, and that's and like I said when I got the nomination, it's the athletes that made me feel good and made me want to do what I did. So I always thank the athletes.
Yep. As a fellow Hall of Famer, I would like to welcome you into the Hall of Fame family.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary, for being here. I'm Larry with Allison. Thank you for joining us on SOMO TV. Larry Walsh.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Hall of Famer.
Thank you.